Peace. This is Maury Yacob and ITFTR Network. We thank you for joining me. Everything is working. All praises to the Creator. We thank the Creator for each one of you for joining me. This is Maury Yacob and ITFTR Network. Happy Shabbat. Thank you for joining me tonight. Make sure as when you come into the building, you press this like and you press this subscribe button. We thank the Creator for you, and you. All praises to Trey, Zayden, and Zipporah. Happy Shabbat to you. Happy Shabbat to you. All praises to Caesar Shiva. All praise, happy Shabbat. You make sure as when y'all come into the building, y'all press the like and subscribe button. We're going to be doing. Let me make sure I get my tablet. We got some information coming in tonight. We have to make sure that it's about the Creator. And it's not about self. It's time now to wise up, get up, move up, and make things happen now. Because the truth is there. We can't no longer ignore the truth. We can no longer deny the truth. We have to accept the truth now. Everything is setting itself back in place. And in order for us to be in the position that it needs to be, we need to make sure that we are in place in order for us to be blessed by the Creator. So we thank you for tonight. Thank you for joining me. All praise to the Creator. All praise to the Creator. And we're going to now get started because it's about us now waking up, standing up and making noise in the law of the Creator. We have to make sure we do what the Creator have asked us to do as a people, as a house, and as a nation. We cannot continue to ignore the laws that were there. Let me start off with this scripture here. This is the main scripture that a lot of people like to ignore. So we're going to now tackle the scripture here. Genesis, the 9th chapter. We're going to jump down to verse 27, 26. And 27. That's where we're going to go at. We're going to drop down Genesis, the 9th chapter, verse 26 and 27. Because a lot of us, we ignore this particular prophecy because we ignore this particular prophecy and we think that, it's about JC coming back to redeem us, and we're going to be sitting in the clouds. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be sitting in the clouds, drinking tea, eating cookies, and looking down at the earth for 1,000 years. but, but we want to make sure that we don't get caught up in the hype. We want to make sure that we stay within the borders and not get caught up in the crowd. Okay? No cloud. Unless you're getting high, baby, with some marijuana. I'm just joking. But but let's get into the prophecy real quick. Genesis, the 9th chapter, verse 26 and 27. Now, Noah prophesied this thing. He prophesied this thing. And a lot of us, we overlook this prophecy for some odd reason. Genesis, the 9th chapter, verse 26 says, when Noah awoke from his drunkenness, he learned what his youngest son had done to him. He said, cursed be Canaan. Now, notice what it says, what his youngest son had done to him. They put two prophecies into one. Okay? But we're going to look at this second half of this prophecy. Cursed be Canaan. Why? If Ham did something to him, why curse Canaan? See, this is where people come in with these speculations. You see, Canaan was cursed because Canaan took over Shem's land. Okay? He took over Shem's land after the flood. And the land became Canaan. They named it after themselves. Okay? Ham didn't have power over Canaan. So Canaan was cursed. Cursed be Canaan. A servant of what? Servants. So when it says the servants of servants, it's telling you that Canaan is going to be cursed and he's going to be in a servile position. Okay? It's not saying that he's not going to never rule, but the majority of his living is going to be servants. Okay? He's going to be a servant of servants. Okay? He's never going to be in charge of anything. He's going to be serving those that's in power. Servants of servants shall be to his brothers. So Shem and Japheth lineages is going to always be in charge of Canaan's lineage. Okay? It's just that simple. Shem's and Japheth's lineage is going to be in charge of Canaan's lineage. It's just that simple. Okay? So 26 says, he also declared, who declared this? Noah. Blessed be the creator, the power of who? Shem. He's telling you Shem has the ear of the creator. He's telling you, Noah is telling you in this verse here, who's going to be the Melchizedek or the Melchizedek or the power priest after Noah. He's telling you it's Shem. He's passing the rod to Shem. Shem has the creator's ear, not Japheth and not Ham. It's Shem. Okay? Blessed be the creator, the power of Shem. Shem has the power, the ear, the authority from the creator. who's going to rule next after Noah. Now, look at the next line. May Canaan be the servant of Shem. Notice he said may. Because if you notice, Canaan he said may because there's some things that took place. Just give me a second. Let me kind of do something real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Canaan is going to be his servant. Okay? Canaan is going to be his servant. And for Canaan being his servant, the thing you have to understand is what? He said, may Canaan be his servant. Because there's going to be some things that take place for Canaan not to be the servant of Shem. And if we understood the prophecy, Israel was told to kill the Canaanites and the other 6 nations, the 7 nations that was inside the land, but Israel did not. And what happened one of the reasons why they was told to kill, because they committed what is called sin. They took the land that belonged to Israel and they claimed it for themselves. That was number 1, sedition. Number 2, the reason why it says may, because Israel started serving the Canaanites religion. And that's one thing that I'm going to get into sometime coming in the future real soon. Very soon. Israel started serving the Canaanites God in their culture and their religion. This is facts. Okay? And this is one thing that I think a lot of people don't want to talk about. Israel's claiming and celebrating the God of the Canaanites. Shalom to Sister Latoya. Happy Shabbat to you. Make sure as when you come into the building, you press that like and subscribe button. All praise to you, sis. So the Canaanites, so Israel began to, notice what he said, may God, may the power, may the Canaanites be the servants of Shem. Because in other words, do Shem's lineage have the power, the authority, and the wherewithal to be able to subdue the Canaanites? And as we can see throughout the scriptures, no. Israel bowed, bend, and submitted a lot of times to the culture of the Canaanites. Okay, now let's look at the next line. May Canaan be their servants. May Canaan be the servants of Shem. May God, or may the power of Shem, expand the territory of Japheth. And this is the part where we're going to get at right here. Verse 27. May the power of Shem expand the territory of Japheth. Japheth is going to dwell in the tents of Shem. He's going to dwell in the tents of Shem. Okay? This is what Noah's telling his sons. Japheth is going to live in the tents of Shem. Okay? Okay? He's going to dwell in the tents of Shem. That's guaranteed. Noah is telling you this. And may Canaan be his servants. Now, I want you to understand one thing. The Canaanites have to be in the tents of Shem as well. Let's talk about it. The Canaanites, even though they spread it all abroad, but the Canaanites are actually in the tents of Shem as well. It's not like Israel was just there by themselves. Okay? Israel wasn't there by themselves. The Canaanites were in the land with Shem. All right? And for the Canaanites being in the land of Shem, that means what? That means when Japheth got to the land of Shem, they encountered the Canaanites. Not just the Israelites. They encountered the Canaanites. All right? They encountered the Canaanites. This is one thing I want you to understand. They encountered the Canaanites. When Japheth got to the land of Shem, when they started living in Shem's land, the Canaanites were there as well. Okay? Now, let's get into the next, let's get into something. Let's get into the next point. So as we realize that the Canaanites were there, all right, as the Canaanites were there, let's look at the next point. One second. Let's look at the manifest destiny. Okay. As the Canaanites, when Japheth got to the land of Shem, okay, the Canaanites were already in that land. So now we realize in this prophecy that everybody that's in the promised land cannot be Israelites. That's number one. That's how you know that these camps be lying, talk about you're Judah, you're Naphtali, you are what it is? Levites. No. The Canaanites were in the land as well. The Canaanites were there. According to Noah in Genesis 9:27, when Japheth set up in the land, the Canaanites were there. Okay? And other nations were there in the promised land. But it mainly named the Canaanites because why? It's because the Canaanites are going to have power. They're going to have the power. They're going to be in position of power. Okay? This is the thing this is the thing we got to understand. Shalom to brother Joel. Happy Shabbat. Make sure when you come into the building, you press that like and subscribe button, family. You press that like and subscribe button. Canaanites are going to be in power. It's not going to just be the Israelites. The Japheth is going to deal with Canaanites as well. So now you got to ask yourself the question. When Japheth got to the land, it says Canaan is going to serve Japheth. This is the thing I want you to understand. The Canaanites are going to serve Japheth. That means the Canaanites is going to have a say in the promised land during the time Japheth is dwelling in that land. Let's not play the games no more. Israel wasn't always in charge in the promised land. They had people, Israel, because I told y'all, I'm going to get into it sooner or later, that Israel was serving the Canaanites' gods. They were celebrating the Canaanites' culture. That's how Canaan is going to serve Japheth. Listen, if Israel was so in charge, why didn't say why Noah didn't say Japheth is going to dwell in the tents of Shem, and Shem is going to serve Japheth as well as the Canaanites? Why it did not mention that? It just simply said the Canaanites are going to serve Japheth. Why didn't it say anything about Shem? Because Shem is not going to be in charge. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to even be in charge in their own land. Let's get it squared up. Israel is not going to be in charge when Japheth comes into the land to take rulership. Israel is not going to be in charge. If anybody disagree with that, the link is in the chat. Let me put the link in the chat. If anybody disagree with it, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. We can have this discussion tonight. Because see, most people ignore this prophecy. Noah is telling you that the Canaanites are going to actually be in rulership when Japheth set up. Now, let's look at Manifest Destiny. Let's look at this real quick. Manifest Destiny was the 19th century belief that the United States was divinely destined to expand across North America, spreading its political, culture, and economic system. I want y'all to pay attention to that. They said that they were given power to spread their system across these lands. You see? This is what they said. This is what they're telling you. They were given power. Who gave them the power? Genesis 9:27. Noah prophesied that Japheth is going to take your land. Japheth is going to rule you. And the Canaanites are going to work hand in hand with Japheth to keep you subdued. See, the Manifest Destiny was a term coined in 1845, by newspaper editor John L. O'Sullivan, who argued that it was the United States' manifest destiny to overspread and to possess the whole of the continent, granted by providence for the what? The development of liberty and self-government. The concept was noted in America's exceptionalism, romantic nationalism, and a belief in racial and cultural superiority, implying that the expansion of the U.S. was both inevitable and morally justified. While the idea exists earlier in America, thought it became widely recognized and politically influential in the what? Mid-19th century. Meaning it was already talked about. It was already talked about. And when it was already talked about, that means they was trying to find a way to implement. Manifest Destiny justified the what? Westward expansion of the United States, including the annexation of what? Texas, the Oregon County, the territories gained after the what? Mexican-American War, such as California, New Mexico, Arizona. It also influenced later acquisition, including Alaska and Hawaii, and shaped U.S. foreign policy in the what? 1890s during the what? Spanish-American War. Notice that Spanish-American War. They tell you Spanish and Americans were fighting. Well, who the Spanish was fighting? They was fighting the indigenous. They was fighting. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Yeah. Come on live. It was by the, so who was the Spanish fighting? The indigenous American. You see? 202 years. Chickamauga. The ideology was a major factor in the 1844 presidential election and was used by Democrats to support territorial expansion. See, this is territorial expansion. Japheth shall live in the tents of Japheth shall live in the tents of Shem. You talking about territory? They're expanding inside of Shem's territory. While many Whigs and Republicans oppose it due to the concerns over slavery and war. Well, who was there enslaving in the 1800s, family? Who was there enslaving? Manifest Destiny had profound effects on indigenous people and other non-European populations. Who is the non-European population? Those were the other indigenous peoples that were not Israelites, leading to forced displacement, culture suppression, and violent conflicts. Family, you wonder why black on black crime is taking place. Because everybody ain't the same. Just because we're the same color, we ain't the same people. We're going to get into this. We're going to have this conversation tonight. Those who are willing to have on grown-ups, underwears, and pants. We're going to have this conversation tonight. Leading to forced displacement, culture suppression, and violent conflicts. They had culture suppression. You wonder why you don't know your culture. Because when Japheth came in, they suppressed a lot. And the Canaanites who was working with Japheth helped suppress a lot of the culture. And violent conflicts. Black on black crime. Why are black people killing each other? Because we're not the same people. Settlers, motivated by economic opportunities, they saw how rich you was in the land. Your land got oil, gold, minerals. It can bear fruits. It grows. It has the pop. This land can grow many things. And they saw it. And they saw the opportunity to be able to claim it and get it. That's why they dwelling in your land. Religious benefits, meaning they could come over here and claim you and be you, and nothing you can do about it. Religious benefits. They can now claim you and stand in the presence of you and get your benefits in your face, and nothing you can do about it. He said, Abraham's seed shall bless the world. This is how they being blessed, because you are out of order. And the promise of land. See, this is the manifest destiny. They was promised land. They divided up your land. Well, Japheth shall dwell in the tents of Shem. Shem ain't just the Israelites. Shem is the Assyrians. Let's talk about it. Huh? They gonna live in your land, Shem. See, we just look at Shem as just being Israelites. No, they're going to live in the land of Shem. Abraham was an Assyrian. They're going to live in your land. And they're going to move westward where the promised land is. Often displacing Native Americans and so-called Mexicans. We're going to talk about the Mexicans in the process. The Second Great Awakening and religious favor reinforced the belief that expansion was divinely sanctioned. These people when they came to your land, they said, God sent them. Let's have this conversation. They said, God sent them. And everything they did and were doing, they said it was divine favor because God gave it to them. And they didn't lie because Noah told them, Japheth is going to come to your tent. Japheth is going to dwell in your tent. What dwelling means? He's going to live there. Japheth is going to stretch out and become you. Japheth ain't lying. Let's move to the next point. Japheth is not lying. Japheth is not lying. Japheth is not lying. He's going to come and take your place. But you know what? A lot of people, we look at that and say, well, I don't agree with that. You don't have to. Because he put it in your face. He put it in your face. Webster's Dictionary 1828. Let's ride it real quick. He put it in your face and ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. He put it right in your face. 1828 Webster's Dictionary, what it says. An American, because you say you're an American, right? A native of America originally applied to the what? Aboriginals. That's the copper color people. Copper color races. Found here by the Europeans. They came from over there to over here in your land. And when they came here in your land, they now, it says, but now apply to the descendants of the European born in America. So only thing it took for them to do was to be born in your tents. And now they become you. Now they become you, family. Now they become Israel. Or they become the Assyrians. Or they become Shem's lineage. And the first thing you think about, well, see, that's those pale people that's doing that. But hold on. Pale people ain't the only ones that telling you that they're Shem's lineage. You got Africans telling you that they're Shem's lineage. You got a lot of people around the world telling you that they are part of Shem's lineage. But they tell you that they're the Israelites. They don't tell you that they are Shem's lineage. They tell you that they are the Israelites. Okay? Manifest destiny. So now let's look at one more thing, and then we're gonna get into Walter Plecker. Because see, when they came here under the divine order of them saying that the Creator gave them the power to come here to do what they did. That's the reason why, family, they do not apologize to you. They will apologize to everybody else. But family, when it comes to you, they're not apologizing. And the reason why they're not apologizing to you, family, is because they said that they're being ordered by the Creator. The Creator gave them the power to do what they're doing to you. See? Predestination. This is predestination. Okay? Predestination. Predestination is a theology, the doctrine that all events have been what? Willed by the Creator. Usually with what? References to the what? Eventually fate of the individual soul. So predestination, they tell you that everything is already designed to be and to do what it's going to do. Explanation of predestination often seek to what? Address the what? The paradox of the will. Of free will, whereby God omniscience seems incompatible with human free will. In this usage, predestination can what? Be regarded as a form of what? Religious determinism, and usually predestinism, also known as what? Theological determinism. What is theological determinism? What is that? Let's look that up real quick. It is a form of predestinism, which states that all events that happen are preordained. You see? So these people are telling you that what they have done and what they're doing is predestined. He designed for us to be here, to do what we're doing to you. You see? But Noah already had prophesied that Japheth is coming to your tent. Noah prophesied that. He prophesied it. And Japheth came. The Canaanites are helping Japheth, keeping you subdued under them. But you don't believe that. See, predestination is the theological concept asserting that God has predetermined in advance that the ultimate fate or of individuals, specifically, rather they will be saved or damned. It is the idea that God, being all-knowing and all-powerful, has already chosen the elect. You see? Before they were born, rather than individuals choosing God through their own free will. They're telling you this is the predetermined. That's the reason why they're telling you that you are the Gentile. When the Bible specifically tell you who the Gentiles are, which is Japheth's lineage. I just sat there and told you Noah told his 3 sons, blessed be the God of, let me put it back up again. See, so if we're going to go off the determination of predetermined, Noah already told you who the Creator chose. Let's read it again. Genesis 9:27. He already told you who was the predetermined, but they telling you that you were not the predetermined. You see? But Noah told you who the Creator chose. Here we go. Genesis 9:27. Let's get it. He already told you. He says, blessed be the Creator and the power, the power of Shem. Why he didn't say, blessed be the God of Ham and Japheth? He only spoke about Shem. because Shem's lineage is who the Creator chose. He did not choose Ham. He did not choose Japheth to be the priest, to be his chosen. He predetermined Shem's lineage. Now, let's do this right here real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me go right here. Let me lower this music down. Get into a verse video. We're not gonna watch the whole video. This is Louis Farrakhan. I'm only showing you certain aspects of it. We won't be under fair use, fair use. We're under fair use, fair use. This is for copies. We don't own no rights to this material.
Video is for you.
We
Publishing
don't
a book
own no rights to this material.
There are many things.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah.
We don't own. Hold on, I don't want this. Not this one.
Where are the black Arabians? They're pushed out. Where are the real?
Hold on. See, because I'm about to show this because they know who you are, and then they would try to sit there and throw lies in the midst of it to confuse you. Just give me a second. Hold on, my computer ain't showing me this thing tonight. Oh boy. Let me go to this one. I'm gonna come back to that. Cause my computer acting up. All right, let's go to this one right here.
To show you. How to show you.
All right, let's go to this one right here real quick. Let's go to this one right here real quick. I don't want to take time out on this. We're under fair use. That's these white folks and realizing that they are not the true Israelites, and they're now starting to speak up about it. So fair use. I'm gonna come back to that Farrakhan one. All right, here we go. Let's ride.
Extremely controversial. It's even illegal in the state of Israel to obtain this. And if you do obtain it, it's illegal to show it and or talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. Now, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that, right? Now, you might ask yourself, why is it illegal to obtain this in the state of Israel? Because it proves through your DNA that Jews around the world have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel. Because it proves through your DNA that Jews around the world have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel.
So if you just listen to that real quick, he's telling you that they're now starting to admit that they know that these people don't have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel. Now, see, here's the thing, though. They're talking about that land over there. We won't get into that. They're talking about that land over there. But the whole thing is that they're realizing in the whole aspect that they know that the truth is now coming out. The truth is now coming out. Nobody's hiding the truth no more. They're not standing with the lie. They're saying that those people over there are the true Israelites. No, it's not happening no more. They cannot hide it. And see, and what's going to happen is when you realize where the promised land is, you're going to now uncover some of the Canaanites, because the Canaanites are working along with Japhet. Let's keep riding.
We Jews have been in the land of Israel since the times of biblical Joshua.
Who is we? No, really, who is we? You live in Israel, so I don't expect you to be able to provide genetic or ancestral receipts for your claims about us Jews, because those kinds of receipts are illegal in Israel without a court order and other special permissions. The Jerusalem Post explains such a thing cannot exist as kits sold directly to the public, going on to say that they have possible effects on subjects and their families.
So, family, real quick question. Why is it illegal for these people to possess to you who they are, but you got to possess to them who you are? See, once again, Japhet is going to come into your land and take over your land, and the Canaanites are going to help them, family. These people don't have to possess who they are. They just tell you who they are. They tell you it's God's plan for them being you. They don't have to prove to you who they are, but you got to prove to them that you are who you say you are. Let's get back into it.
Furthermore, the national implications of these tests could hold or affect, nice grammar, Jerusalem Post, could hold or affect with Israel being a government-recognized Jewish state. Don't you just love when they say the quiet parts out loud? But since they won't let you get receipts for us Jews, I brought my own. Wow. So I, an Ashkenazi, have no genetic or ancestral ties to the region of historic Palestine. I, an Ashkenazi, have no genetic or ancestral ties to the region of historic Palestine. And yet
So, family, just real quick, if they don't have no ties to Palestine, which is the Ottoman Empire that's over there, family, they damn sure ain't got no ties over here. So, family, where are they ties from? See, it's gonna come out. He's declaring the end from the beginning. It's going to come out. Let's keep cooking.
Yet Israel still claims it's my homeland, which I could move to and become a citizen of under the ironically named Law of Return.
Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to this episode. A lot of Jewish Americans, they are so disappointed after doing DNA, and it finally proves that they don't have any connection to Israelis. They are not even have any genetical or ancestral ties to that land of Israelis. A lot of people are talking about it. Let's get to hear them, because this time around, each and everyone is trying to know their roots.
Of the Kuzalim.
Yeah, that's us. That's me, actually.
Okay, so what is your, this is a question that comes from outside of Israel. What is your opinion about the theory that Ashkenazim came from Kuzalim?
It seems relevant. It's quite obvious that white Jewish people, Ashkenazim from Europe, are not genetically, as much as I can tell, I'm not an expert, but they don't look the same like Arab Jews, people that came from Arab countries, and Ethiopians. I don't think there may be some genetic relations, but there's a lot of genetic differences. And any theory that says that we're not genetically come from the same ancestors makes sense to me.
Is one of the Gentile nations. Now, 80 to 85% of today's so-called Jewry, those who claim to be Jews in the world today, 80 to 85% of them are what is known as Ashkenazi Jews. And an Ashkenazi Jew is so named because he primarily descends from this guy in the Bible named Ashkenaz, which is clearly listed as one of the Gentile nations. Now, the reason for this is that there was a nation of people who were Europeans, white people, known as the Khazars. And in the 8th century after Christ, the whole nation of the Khazars turned unto Judaism. They converted to the religion of Judaism. Of course, it was a false, Christ-rejecting religion. And for a few hundred years, the empire of the Khazars was a power in Eastern Europe, and they followed the religion of Judaism. But eventually, they were defeated by the Russians, and they were scattered into Eastern Europe. And so a lot of the Eastern European Jews today are the descendants of the Khazars.
And so a lot of the Eastern European Jews today are the descendants of the Khazars.
Now, I want y'all to just soak that up. The Russians scattered them in war. So those are the Khazarians who made the religion Judaism. That's in the New Testament, family. Judaism. You see? That's why they call themselves Israelis, not the Israelites. That's their promised land that they're trying to claim. But you got to remember, Judaism came here to the Americas as well. Okay? Let's keep cooking on this video for about 2 more minutes. Let's ride.
Today years old when I found out.
Ashkenaz.
Attention homeowners, I want to
The 3 sons of Gomer, the son of Japhet, and the name of a kingdom, referencing these same verses. Most likely it was the Scythian kingdom. Then after a few hundred years, they're lost from history. So they have zero to do with Israel, zero to do with Jewish people, zero to do with Ashkenazi Jews today. Zero. You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from? So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, So they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false, zero truth to it. Just study the history, look into it, check the Bible dictionaries, encyclopedias, the archaeological works. You'll find the exact same thing.
So in other words, family, what he's telling you is that these pale people took on that name. They took on that name and became those people. Okay? Let's keep riding.
Takeaway points and food for thought. 1. The original Jews are defined as those from the line of Judah. Judah was the fourth son of Jacob. 2. Ashkenaz was the first son of Gomer and is from the line of Japheth and not Shem. 3. They labeled themselves as Ashkenaz but claimed to be from the line of Shem. If they knew their history, would this error have been made? 4. The term Ashkenazi Jew is historically incorrect, as previously mentioned Ashkenaz and Judah are from separate lineages. 5. They self-identified as Ashkenazi and were not labeled as such. Due to the confusion in establishing their true lineage, one could suggest this has been a ploy to hijack the identity of an already established people. 6. It's claimed that the Ashkenazi people have been lost to history. But, are people ever lost to history, or are they invaded, conquered and assimilated?
As Jews and Arabs and Palestinians. There were Jews and Arabs.
Don't you... I mean, you deny that there was a Palestine Arab people before, but there is now a Palestine liberation movement. The history of liberation movements are that they grow. Won't this one grow and become in fact, your biggest enemy?
I don't say there are no Palestinians, but I say there is no such thing as a distinct Palestinian people of all the Palestinians who live in Jordan. Why have the Palestinians in the West Bank become more Palestinians since the 5th of June 67 than they were before? Why didn't they set up a Palestinian country in addition to Jordan? Supposing your premise is right, then what should they have done? They should have set up another independent Palestine and fought from there. They didn't do that. They adopted the fact that they are in Jordan. They've adopted the Jordanian citizens. They are the majority in Jordan. They are in parliament. They are in government. What has happened since? Why have they become more Palestinian conscious since the War of 67?
This feels like Christmas morning. I got a 23andMe ancestry and health kit. I think that I kind of want to start with the ancestry side. And it says ancestry composition. I'm 49.9% Ashkenazi Jewish. That's not a huge surprise to me at all, since my mom's side of the family is completely Jewish. My dad's side is not Jewish though. So let's go to there. Let's see what's going on. This is like, I feel really like on the spot. Okay, so I'm 100% European, which again is not a huge surprise to me, but it's just funny seeing it like that. I'm 49% Ashkenazi Jew, totally. British and Irish and German and French, a little bit Scandinavian, Northeastern European. Yeah, it's not super exciting, but I kind of know all of that information. I didn't realize how much of my family was from Germany though, so that's interesting. So let's see, but if I can get more information on this. It's funny, like I know where like my relatives and stuff came from, but it's kind of fun to see it broken down like this. Yeah, totally not surprising having the British and Irish be pretty strong. The German is though, so I wonder who came from Germany. I wonder if it has to do with the Ashkenazi Jewish part of my family. No really Scandinavian, no Italian. Wow. Okay. It's pretty vague. It doesn't give you like, which it makes sense, but there's nothing really random in there. There's a tiny bit of East Asian and Native American, like the slightest. The first thing that they're telling me to do is do the late onset Alzheimer's disease. I do have some dementia in my family, so I wouldn't be super surprised if this was positive, but my heart's racing a little bit. I don't know.
So family, I was showing I'm gonna stop it right here. You go watch the rest of the video. Jewish Americans disappointed after their DNA proves that they aren't Jews. They confess everything. They are now coming forth, family, letting you know that they are not who you think they are. These people don't know who they lineage doesn't trace back to what you think their lineage is traced back to. So let's get into something else, family. Let's move on a little bit further into the walk of tonight. 1924. Let's get into it. 1924, because see, these people have told you that you have to prove who you are. You have to prove who you are, family, but they don't have to prove who they are. Okay, they could just come and tell you who they are. But now people are now start to expose these people and letting these people know that they're not. I'm just telling you straight up. They're not even Ashkenaz. They're not even Ashkenaz. They're not Gomer. You see, that's why they have the world confused, because they tell you that they move through the churches telling the churches only read the New Testament. So the church tell you to read the New Testament when you don't even realize the lineage that they crossing over the lineages. Those people are Ashkenaz. Who they say they are, they tell you that they come from Gomer. And so when they tell you these things, they tell you, this who we are. But these people are in New York. They're in California. They're in Georgia. They're in Florida. These people pretty much running your government. You just focus with them over there in that fake Israel. But them folks all over the earth. And they will always hide who they are. They will always hide who they are. And they will never, it's against the law for them to prove to you who they are. So when they came here and they took your land, they now dwell in the tents of you. And the Canaanites are helping them. One guy rose up under prophecy, Walter Plecker, 1924. The Racial Integrity Act. See, they just didn't conquer you and brought you Jesus Christ, JC. Yeah, shower. No. They just ain't just gonna bring you falseness. They're going to wipe you out. See, they knew they couldn't do it physically. So they already came with an agenda when they got in power. And one of the purposes of the agenda is to make you not known. So let's get into a prophecy of Deuteronomy 28. Let's go there real quick, family. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. And this is what it says, family. Let's go to verse, let's jump down to verse 30, 32. And this is what it says. Turn it sideways. And this is what it says, family. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. You see? Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people. And thy eyes shall what? Look and fill with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in your hand. Your children are going to be serving other people. Your children are going to be in someone else's culture. And you ain't going to have the power to even stop it. You see, when Japheth come in and the Canaanites help Japheth, they're going to overpower your house. You're not going to even be able to stop what Japheth is doing in your house, to your house, with your house. You're not going to be able to stop it. And they're going to be doing all kinds of things to wipe you out. And don't you know, when they get your children, you're done. Because your children is your future. Your grandparents is your past. You are the present, and your children supposed to be the future. And your grandchildren is supposed to be eternal. But let's read it again. It says, thy sons, Deuteronomy 28:32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. And we look at it and say, well, that was talking about translate. No. Somebody else is going to be controlling your child. Somebody else other than your house is going to be controlling your child. And your eyes shall look and fail with longing. You're going to be longing for them. You're going to be wishing and hoping and just you're going to realize the truth, but you're going to realize through your knowledge and your understanding that your child's supposed to be lifting and expanding your vision, but they're going to be doing it for somebody else. And you ain't going to have no power to stop it or change it. So now we have Walter Plecker. After you have been conquered, Walter Plecker come with the Racial Integrity Act. And you can see it on the screen. It says the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 was a Virginia law that prohibited interracial marriage and enforced strict racial classifications to maintain white purity. Now, notice he says white, and the first thing you think about is pale people. No, that was a class. Because black folks lived in the white. Black folks, or we call melanated people, were white as well. You see? They prohibited interracial marriage. Now, that's key. We think about pale people and black folks. No. We're going to get into it. It prohibited interracial marriage and enforced strict classification to maintain white purity. See? The Racial Integrity Act was enforced by the Virginia General Assembly in 1924 to reinforce racial segregation and white supremacy. What is white supremacy? You got to remember, if you say the white man is the pale man, then the Canaanites are niggers. That means that the niggers were helping the pale man. You can't get around this. You can't get around it. Sister Latoya put up Walter Plecker was friends with Marcus Garvey and was pushing Africa identity to us. That is 100% true. And a lot of people want to get away from that. They want to walk away from that. They want to walk away from he was friends with Marcus Garvey. And he was pushing that Africa thing too. But if we sit there and say the pale man was the one who in charge, then who in the hell were the Canaanites? Because you can't get around Genesis 9:27. The Canaanites is going to help the pale man. If that's what y'all see Japheth as being the pale man, the Canaanites going to help the pale man. The Canaanites were niggas. So who was the Negroes that was helping the pale man? Who were they? Who were they? The Virginia General Assembly in 1924 to reinforce racial segregation and white supremacy. See, they got away from the racial and they was talking about racial and segregation. We were supposed to be segregated from them. And it was telling you that when you was in a class of being white, you were superior over the ones that were black. We talk about class now. We talk about class in categories. The black race was servant to the white race, to the white class. It prohibited marriages between white and non-white individuals and required all birth and marriages certificates to record a person race as either white or colored, with all non-whites, including Native Americans, classified as what? Colored. See, the law defined a white person as someone with no trace whatsoever of any blood than Caucasians. You see? White people was a class. It was a class or a category. Let me go here real quick. I'm gonna come back to this racial thing. Let me pull this right here up. White people was a class. That was not just pale skin. They put pale on top, but white people were a class, a classification. You see right there on the screen, white people were a classification. Okay, and this is what Walter Plecker were doing. There's the survival of the fittest. White people as a racial classification generally referred to individuals of European ancestry and is what regarded as a what social and political construct rather than a what scientifically supported category. This was a social political construct. They were separating you. See, they had to always find themselves greater than you. This is what it means when it says Japheth shall dwell in the tents of Shem. when Japheth came, he was not going to find himself being equal to you. No. No. He always had to find himself being greater. The concept of race, including the classification of white people, has been historically used to promote ideas of what? Superiority. That's why when people today come from overseas, they classify themselves as being white. Because they look at you, the Negro of America, as being black. They have more great, they look at themselves greater than you. That's why they come and take your land. Because they know you're not going to fight back. Because your children is serving them. They're not serving your children, according to the curse. The distinction between race and ethnicity is important. Ethnicity patterns to culture, practices, and origin, while race focus more on perceived physical characteristics. See, they already know that your ethnicity is still inside of you. So they classify you away from your ethnicity to be able to control you. The term white has been in use since early 17th century. But it is current implication, but its current implications were what? Solidified in the what? Late 18th and the early 19th century through various what? Anthropological studies, notable by Johann Frederick Blumbank, what I have to pronounce it, who characterized human based on physical traits. So they were looking at you, they were looking at everything that you was about, and now what they're doing, family, they categorize you by saying that you are less than them. How did they do it, family? How did they come to you and say, oh, we're greater than them? They went by prophecy, family. The Racial Integrity Act is part of the prophecy, and they was classifying you because remember, this is what they say. This is what predestined. This was predestined for them because Noah already prophesied it, that they was coming to you. They was coming to you. They're going to dwell in your tents, and you're not going to stop them according to the curse because they already know when they get here, when the Creator bring them, they already know you're going to be out of order. You're not going to be in line with the Creator, and the Creator has given them the power to control you. So they call you bywords and they call you bywords and proverbs. And so now they come to you with the Racial Integrity Act, 1924, Walter Plecker. And so now this is part of eugenics, eugenics, and the implementation. The act was what? Heavily influenced by the eugenics movement. See, this was to wipe you out. And what did some of the prophecies say? Until you were destroyed. See, a lot of things were put in place because of your disobedience, which sought to control reproduction to promote desirable traits and maintain racial hierarchy. We're going to talk about that in a second because they destroyed your hierarchy. They destroyed it. Walter Ashby Plecker, the Register of Virginia, Bureau of Vital Statistics was a key proponent. He used the law to what? Enforce racial classifications. Meaning he put categories there. Often overrides self-identification. So now, here's the thing. They can self-identify to you. But they made it against the law for you to self-identify to them about yourself. I want y'all to pay attention to that. They made it against the law for you to tell them who you are. But they can tell you who they are, but you can't tell them who you are. It's against the law now. And targeted Black and indigenous communities. Why didn't he target the Asian people? Why he didn't target the African people? Why he did not target anybody else but your people? And this practice was called paper genocide. Because it erased the Native Americans' identity from official records. This is what he did. He erased you from self-identifying of who you are. You cannot tell these people, this is who I am. And now you're going to have to, if you're going to do that, you got to jump through the hoops just to be able to tell them, this is my legacy. You see how they're going to get your children to serve them? And you're going to realize, oh, this is who we are. But your child going to have to go through the system to learn who they're not. You see? The Racial Integrity Act. It was to categorize you out of yourself. It was to make it illegal for you to tell them who you are. It was to remove any record. Because watch this. If they're claiming that they're the people of God, but they know that you're the people of God, you got a conflict. If they're claiming that they are the indigenous, but they know that you're the indigenous, you got a conflict. He can't dwell in your tent like the prophecy said, peacefully, and make your children serve him. He got to now erase you to make you not know and to make it illegal and make you afraid to stand up. So he can rule your house and rule your children in the process. He gonna set up all the things that keep him important. He gonna set up all things that keep him in your mind. He gonna set up all things that keep him in front of you to make you look up to him at all times, not sometimes, but all times. This is him coming and dwelling in your tent, and the Canaanites are going to be helping him keep you in a subservient position. The Canaanites are going to keep him in power, not just over you, but wherever the Canaanites have been spreading. The Canaanites going to help him. But we talking about you tonight. So the act was part of a series of racial integrity laws, including the Public Assemblage Act of 1926 and of 1930. Laws codifying the one-drop rule. See, if it's one drop of black blood, they black. But see, they don't classify them as being white. Notice they drop them in the black category. Black classification. Just one drop. They're black. We say, oh, yeah, see, our DNA is more powerful. They ain't worried about all that. They tries to keep themselves from out of view. So anything that seems like it's part of you, they push it to you. That's what they do. It was known as the one-drop rule, which classify anyone with, they say, African ancestry. But we know we talk about Negro, American, indigenous ancestry as black by 1967. The U.S. Supreme Court overturned the act of what? Loving versus Virginia, ruling that bans on interracial marriage were what? Unconstitutional. See, they already had a hold on you now. So they didn't need anything to be upheld says, oh, you can't mix no more. No. They don't need that now. Because see, now they got your children now. They got your children now. They have your children. Sister Latoya put up Romans 11 and 12. Now if the fall of them be of what? Riches of the world, and the diminish, I think that's diminishing because this thing too far back. And the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their faith, their fullness. Paul was teaching them. He was, and Paul was teaching them. Because here's the thing. The New Testament is about them coming and taking your stuff. Them getting up everything to come over here to be able to come to America to take your stuff. Paul was teaching these people how to be able to come and overturn. Because see, Paul was ordained by the Creator to teach the Gentiles how to be able to now become you. You see, they're going to be able, Paul was teaching them that their time has come to now take over your part, everything about you. But we think we teach that, but not we. Y'all teach the camps, and all these people teach that, oh, Paul was teaching the law. Paul was not teaching law. Paul was teaching Gentiles how to not be in the law, and how to run according along with JC. This is how you get Jeremiah 16:19. But Sister Latoya put up Jeremiah 50 and 7. She said, all that found them have devoured them. And their adversary said, we often not, because they have what? Sinned against the Creator, the habitation of justice, even the Creator, the hope of the second part she put up, the hope of their fathers. This is exactly what you're talking about. The other nations feel like they are doing what's right. That is that's a very powerful scripture, sis. Very powerful. Because here's the thing. These people came here telling you it was divine for them to come here. They was telling you it was divine for them to come in. That's what the sister had just put up. They were telling you that it was divine for them to come here. And when they came here, they felt as if it was for them to be in power. But they couldn't just come in and just take over. They didn't just come here to take over. We say, oh, these people just came here and no. These people had to work their way in to dwell. And notice it says, Japheth's going to dwell in the tents of Shem. When did it ever say Japheth will leave the tents of Shem? When is Japheth going to ever leave the tents of Shem? Noah never prophesied that. He just told you Japheth was coming. He never told you when Japheth was going to leave. You see? So now when Japheth is here, Japheth is imposing his rule. And what is one of his rules? One of his rules, family, is for you to learn his education. That's one of his rules, family. You have to learn his history. You have to learn everything that he wants you to know. He's not going to give you to allow you to stay within your culture. This is why he racially integrating you out of your culture. This is what Walter Plecker did. You see? They don't need you to be separated now. See, in order for them to gain power, they need to create laws that separate you from them. See, they need to get themselves together here. See, on one part, they're fighting. The other part, they're gaining control through the government. And once when they gain control, they're implementing their rules now. And once when they implement their rules, family, they don't need you to be separate from them now. Because what they say, keep your enemies close, right? So they bring their enemies and they keep them close. And that's what the sister was saying. That's what she just said in the script. They were ordained to come here. So they're going to keep you close. Because if they let you run wild, then guess what? They don't have no control of you. So they're going to tell you in your face that this is a Christian Jew nation. And you say, well, see, they believe in a false God. It doesn't matter. Noah already prophesied that they're coming to Shem. And they're going to live in Shem's territory. And you got a nation that come from afar. What you think they're going to do when they get here? You think they're going to share the land with you? No. They're going to come and control it. Because it was already ordained. It was already ordained for them to be here. So now Walter Plecker put up what? Walter Plecker put up that he's here now. And now he's making a move to now put things in perspective to now take over. You're weak now. You haven't yet repented. You haven't repented, family. And as long as you don't repent, they're going to move further and further into what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So now you have paper genocide. Paper genocide. That's what's happening. Paper genocide and reclassification. Paper genocide and reclassification. This was happening, family. This ain't happening nowhere else. That's why these people is not going to apologize to you. It's not. That's why I said what the sister put up is that was very good. They're not going to apologize to you. They're going to keep a stranglehold on you. Because they are dwelling according to prophecy. Paper genocide and reclassification. This is all Walter Plecker, 1924. It's when they start to now move things into play more in your face now. Paper genocide is a concept refers to the systematic ensure or denial of what? Indigenous identity and the existence through what? Bureaucratic means. Such as a census record, legal document, and government policies. You see? This is a bureaucrat means. Meaning they're going to pass laws to make it illegal for you to be who you are. This ain't got nothing to do with no spit in the test or your DNA. We're talking about legal. And they did it through bureaucrat means, meaning they set their government up over you. And they're telling you this is the law. And that's what the wars was about, the Indian wars. Chickamauga. It was to get rid of the fighting men. And the ones that stayed is the ones that bend their back to the system. And now Jaffa can impose his will on you. And the Canaanites going to be right there to help them. This form of what? Ensure often involve deliberately including or reclassifying Native people as mixed, black, or other to reduce their racial population count. So what it means that they're mixed. I just sat there and told y'all. What is being mixed? The woman was called Negro. The man was called an Indian, or vice versa. So when a woman birthed a child, that child was classified Negro. So they'll say that the man was an Indian and the woman was a Negro. They call that being mixed. Even though they knew that both of them were indigenous. They classify the woman as one thing and they classify the man as another. And that's how you get the mix. It wasn't talking about oh, she's light skinned or he's light skinned. No. No. Being mixed was talking about classification. She's a Negro. He's an Indian. And this Indian had sex with this Negro woman. which birthed out a Negro child because they was matriarchic. You're talking about paper genocide and reclassifying. This how they got us. Now, let's keep going. Blood quantum laws impose restrictive racial criteria to deny tribal recognition and rights. Blood quantum laws. The one drop rule. And we're going to talk about the one drop in a second. Forced assimilation policies like boarding schools and termination acts sought to dissolve tribal identities. They put you in schools. They taught you what they wanted you to know, what they wanted you to learn. They still doing it till this day. And when we wake up, we realize we've been lied to. But you don't have no rights over your own child. Because the state can come and take your child. You see, now you got to get out of that debacle when you woke up. You see how that go? See? This thing dissolved tribal identities, leading to what? Loss of what? Legal recognition. Land disposition. Using fraudulent treaties or legal legal mechanisms strip tribes of their sovereignty, making them invincible in official records. See? Everything was legal, or what they call legal. The term highlights how administrative systems were weaponized to diminish Native nations politically, culturally, and demographically. Without physical violence, but with equally destructive consequences. See, they didn't have to fight you when they got you in this position. Because see, all the fighting men, they done kill or they done ship them off somewhere else. And now they just have the submissive ones. And now they're going to impose their will on the ones that are submissive. See how that go? They're going to impose their will on them now. Because the ones that were fighting, the ones that stood for something, the ones that was pushing back against what these folks were trying were either killed or they were captured and were shipped off. So now these people is pushing their will up on you. And now when they push their will up on you, how do you stop them? How do you stop them from imposing their will on your children? How do you do it? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:32. Because the fighters are gone now. The fighters are dead, or the fighters have been shipped off. Deuteronomy 28:32. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. The eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the days long. And there shall be no might in your hand. You're not going to be able to stop them when you wake up. You're going to know better. But you ain't going to have no power to do better. Because they know you're not going to repent. So now they're going to reclassify you as paper genocide. And they're going to do it through their legal system that they set up on your land over you. This is what they've done. So now let's look at assertion of fraudulent identity. Assertion of fraudulent identity. See, because we assertion of fraudulent identity. See, you go to jail for this today. You go to jail for this today. But they did this to you all throughout history. They did it to us all throughout history, but you'll go to jail for it if you do it. You see? You if you do this, you're going to jail, family. See, this is all what Walter Plecker did. He asserted a fraudulent identity on you. Watch. Let's read. The assertion of a fraudulent identity involves several steps to protect one's from the consequences of identity theft. See, you talk about identity theft. Victims should immediately hold on. Let me go to this. Let me go to this right here. Let me do this right here. Okay. Okay, let me go right back. Okay, this right. It says identity should be fraudulent alert or security freeze or their credit report. See, in other words, somebody took your identity. I just showed y'all Webster Dictionary 1828. They asserted themselves and took your identity. They told you that they are you, and now they push you out into whatever they want you to be. They asserted their identity over you, family. This is what they did. They are committing fraud. But they did it legally, and now if you commit fraud, you're going to jail. I want you to remember that. You're going to jail. Walter Plecker also targeted surnames. Okay? Walter Plecker targeted surnames. What did he do, family? Plecker instructed local registers, clerks, and school officials to use a list of surnames he compiled to identify individuals claiming to be Indians and to classify them as colored. Okay? Meaning they was on the lookout for you. You see? You could not, family. Let's look up the definition for surname. Because see, He did this. They did this deliberately to get you out of the way. They have to control you in order for them to dwell. Surname. He went after the surnames. Surname is the hereditary name common to all members of a what? Family. A district from a given name. Family, they went after your house. A name, title. A position added to a person's name, especially one including their what? Birthplace, or a particular quality or achievement. Family, they destroyed your hierarchy. When he removed your name from being, we say Indian, but family, he just didn't go after the name Indian. He went after everything that included your position in your house, in your nation, dealing with your God. He destroyed it. He went after the surnames. He targeted surnames. Walter Plecker also boasted that his meticulous tracking of Virginia racial history was a comprehensive as Hitler genealogical study of the Jews, demonstrating his dedication to eliminating the legal recognition of American identity. He did this thorough. It was thorough. Okay, family? It was thorough. And he went after specific people, specific nations. He went after specific tribes. He destroyed them through paper, legally. He destroyed them. I'm going to put these names up real quick. Chickahominy. The Chickahominy people. He destroyed the Chickahominy. They are a federally recognized tribe in the Virginia area. The Chickahominy people. These were Negroes. I'm going to prove it. Let me put up in the chat. He destroyed the Chickahominy Nation. He also destroyed the Pomoki Nation. You can look these up. He also destroyed the Sapani nation. And I think the Sapani nation, I'm thinking that was in North Carolina. Let me find that out real quick. Because the Pamunkey nation, excuse me, the Pamunkey, I might be pronouncing the name wrong. The Pamunkey nation tribe, they were from hold on. Because we know the Chickahominy was in Virginia. The Pamunkey nation was they was from Virginia as well. So the Chickahominy and the Pamunkey nation was in Virginia. The Sapani nation, Soponi. They were in Virginia, Piedmont, and North Carolina. The Supani nation, the Supani nation, they were in the Virginia and the North Carolina area. The Supani nation. He went after them. Also, he went after the Nasaman. I can't pronounce these names. I'm gonna put it up in the chat in a minute. That's NANSEMONEOND. They were these people were in Virginia, primarily in the Southeast Virginia area. He went after these tribes here. Let me make sure I put this in the chat. I'm gonna put these nations in the chat. He went after these nations here. I'm putting in the chat. And this last one here. No, I got a couple more. My bad. These tribes had treaties all the way back to the 1600s. These tribes here. So you had a lot of these tribes. These tribes right here had treaties all the way back to the 1600s, and these are the ones that Walter Plecker went after in the Virginia. Then he went after these tribes because this was his area that he was focusing on. We just talk about Walter Plecker, but eventually this thing spread throughout the United States. Okay, but Walter Plecker went after these people here where that they could no longer claim themselves as being Aboriginal or what we call native to the land. These people had treaties all the way back to the 1600s that Walter Plecker went after. And he realized he went after them legally. And then it became this thing going across by colored, Negro, etc. It started spreading throughout the other states. Okay, children born to Indian parents were Negroes. Okay, children born to Negro parents, children born to Indian parents, children born to Indian parents were considered to be Negroes. Okay, on my birth certificate, they have the word Negro. Then after, they started calling you black. Okay, then after black, they started leaving it blank. You can look at your children today's birth certificate. The color is blank. They removed that. On a lot of birth certificates, they don't have Negro color and all that. It's just blank today. Look at your children's birth certificate. All right. So children that was born to Indian parents were Negroes. Okay. See how that went from Indian to Negro. From Indian to Negro. Okay. From Indian to Negro. See, they knew what they were doing. It was all about them dwelling. And if they come to dwell in your tent, they're going to want to be in charge. Okay? They're going to be the ones that wants to be in charge. They're the ones that going to want to be in charge. You see? They knew in order for them to dwell safely, they have to now make you subservient. How they do that? They do that through your children. It comes through your child. You're going to know who you are, but they're going to make it laws where you can't stop it. Nothing you can do to stop it. Because now they're in control. They're in control now. See, this is no more right here. This is no more. This is no more. They're in control. Because, see, they know you're not going to repent. They already know this. They already know you're not going to repent. They know Shem lineage is hard-headed. They know Shem's lineage is hard-headed. You see? So they set up a shop. And to keep you subservient, they know they already know that they're going to be the ones they're going to be the ones that keep you that stay in power to make you subservient to them. You see? It's black women. Black women. Melanated sisters. They know this. See, but the first thing we say is, oh, yeah, see, but these people, it doesn't matter. They don't reclassified you. What you gonna do about it? You can't even be who you are no more because they made it illegal. They made it illegal, family. They made it illegal. And now, since it's illegal, what you do? What you do? It's illegal now. I could go and coin the name. I can say, oh, this is who I am. I can show records. But it's still up to them to allow you in. Ain't got nothing to do with you. It's up to them, rather, if they're going to let you in. They got to acknowledge. They got to say, yeah, you're right. That's who you are. Ain't got nothing to do with you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing. Everything still runs on what they say, yea or nay. Because they dwelling in your tents. Notice you ain't dwelling in their tents. They dwelling in yours. They came to you. Nor never say when they're going to leave. Nor say they're going to just come to you. You see? Indian marriages were labeled as colored. So if an Indian and an Indian, if an Indian man and an Indian woman marry one another, they're known as colored. Children that was born to Indian parents were labeled, classified as Negro. Let me say it again. When two Indian parents birth a child, that child was classified as a Negro. Okay? When two Indian parents, an Indian man and an Indian woman, I say Aboriginal man and an Aboriginal woman, marry one another, they're known as colored. It was classified as colored. Okay? This how they got entire bloodlines changed. On paper. They just kill your whole bloodline. You're colored now. You're not indigenous, you're colored. You're not indigenous, you're black. You're not indigenous, you're African American now. This how they change your whole bloodline, just on paper. Ain't got nothing to do with no DNA test. They did it on paper. That's why I say that DNA test is a bunch of bullshit. Because they ain't did nothing to your paperwork. I mean your bloodline. I mean your DNA. They changed your paperwork. This is how you lost everything. Not through no DNA test. You lost everything through paperwork. Paperwork. Land rights, treaty rights, and recognition. You lost it through paperwork. They legally remove you through their law. Notice I say their law. But my question is, where's your law? Because their law remove you. The Bible says they're going to call you by words and proverbs. That's their law. But family, where is your law? Because two competing nations can't live in the same tent. One gonna have to serve the other. So they made you subservient to their law. But my question is, family, where is your law? Where's your law? Where's your law, family? This is how whole bloodlines and hierarchies was wiped out through paperwork. And they were strategic at what they did. That's why I put up these names. They were strategic at times at who they went after, when they went after, and why they went after. They were strategic at what they did. Whole bloodlines were wiped out because they don't want you to dwell with them. They don't want to compete in your tent with you. So they fought the men until they can't fight no more. And the ones that couldn't fight got killed. And the ones that did fight, they were captured and were put on prison boats and were shipped to another part of the land. And was broken. They wasn't taken back where they were taken someplace else. And they broke them. And now when Walter Plecker come about, you got nations that were subservient. They're not going to too much fight back. Nah. Those days were over. Fighting is over. Most of the men dead now. You still have few around, but the majority of the people, they done assimilated. They had the children in college, high school, running after the American dream. That's how you got them. And the older people knew that they were the Aboriginal Indians. But a lot of the older people, they kept things to themselves. They didn't pass the lineage history down to the children. So the children got caught up and they say, well, you need to go to school so you can get a good education, so you can make something of yourself. That's what they were telling you. And we had high hopes, and the children had hopes in the school system, not knowing that it was a trap. Because you're not educating your children like they want you to educate them. Your culture's gone. Your children don't know anything about hierarchy, power. They don't know nothing about their surnames. It's gone. So now they're competing in the system of the oppressor, of Japhet. In the South, from bottom North Carolina down to Georgia over to Alabama, in the Southeast, the Negro were reclassified from shifting censor categories. They was reclassified from Indian, and the Indian became mulatto. From mulatto, they became colored. From colored, they became Negro. And from Negro, they became black, and so forth and so on. It's in the Southeast. Afro-American, then African-American. See? In the Southeast, they transitioned the names away from the Aboriginal. Destroyed it. This went along with land seizures. See, in other words, when they change your identity, they took you from your land. They seized your land. This is how they got land seizures, removal, reconstruction era, and the labor system. They controlled the very nature of you. See, Japheth needs to be in control in order to keep dwelling. See, he think he's you. He think he's you. That's why you hear him telling you that they're the American. You go back to Africa, they tell you they're the American. But they don't realize they the ones who came on the boats. But they flip their story on to you. And you ignorantly, me ignorantly, when we was coming out, we believed it. Oh man, I come from Africa. And we believed that foolish lie. And we stood 10 toes on the African tip. And you got people today still believe the foolish lie of that we come from Africa. And some of you probably did. I'm going to show you that in a second. Some of you probably did come from Africa. But they reclassified the people in the Southeast. They just didn't stay up there in Virginia. It started moving south. And this is how they start to take you from your land. Take you from your rights of being recognized. This is why in 1870, the census record shows an explosion of Negroes. You wonder where all these Negroes come from. That's when they tell you that that's when they tell you about Africa. Oh, see, all these people come from Africa. The hell they did it. They didn't come from no Africa. And that's why you seen an explosion of Negroes on the census record in 1870. But notice in those ones who was called Negroes were in the same area where the Indians were. Whatever happened to the Indians? You were the Indians. They just reclassified you as such. The so-called black man or African man was in the same area on the census count where the Indians were. But somehow the Indians disappeared, but the African still was there. You see? See, they already had a plan they needed to implement because Japheth needs to dwell according to prophecy. But Japheth is not going to dwell equally with you in your tent. No, he can't. He cannot dwell equally in your tent and survive. He got to get you to be subservient to him. Moses prophesied that. He's going to be the head and you're going to be the tail. You're going to want in need of all things from who? Him. See? Everything going to come from him. Everything is going to come from him. He's going to have you depend on him so much that you're going to think your life is his. You think the culture that you calling black is really black. That's not black culture. because you got that culture. You got everything you learned from him. Everything. In the census count in 1870, there was an explosion of black folks. And you call it Africans. No. Those people were still where the blacks were. That's where the Indians were. Whatever happened to the Indians? It was you. All the time. That's what that church song say. He was there all the time. That's what talking about you. You were there all the time. But they just put in a church song to try to make you sing about JC, but they was really talking about you. You were there all the time, waiting faithfully. Your history, your bloodline, your culture, your hierarchy was sitting in the place where you're at right now. They were always there. You just ain't knew it. You just ain't knew it. And older people, a lot of them died out with the history. They died with the history. Because a lot of people didn't want it. Let me put up an article real quick. Anybody wants to join the chat is open. Put up an article here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Here we go. These are real Indians here. But see, they're not going to show you this. They're not going to show you this. See, these are the people, these are the black Indians. They're not going to show you this, family. They're not going to show you. They call these people African Americans. You see? They're not going to show you the real American Indians. They call it we're the real Indians and the real cowboys. Not gonna show you this though. No. They're not gonna show you this. They're not. We're the real cowboys. We're the real Indians and we're the real cowboys. But see, according to them, we're not. We're Africans. That's what they say. You see? We're cowboys. We're the real cowboys. We're the original. This is part one, family. I'm not going to get into all the material tonight. This is just part one. Because Walter Plecker go deep. It's just part one, family. We're the true aboriginals. They don't want you to know that. That legally, not genetically. See, they want you to focus on nonsense. But the real fight is legally. You see? They took everything legally. Paperwork. This is what they did, family. Paperwork. They took everything from you through paperwork. It wasn't that, you got to go show a blood test. Nah. It was paperwork, family. Paperwork. This in the final call right here. The trails of tears continue for black Indians. It's a Muslim paper. See, they know who you are. So I just went around that video with Farrakhan. He just brought you up a final call, one of the newspapers. See? These are descendants. See, Oklahoma, when they tell you, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that was Indian land. That was Indian land. See? That was Indian land, family. Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was Indian. See, even the final call reports it. Black Indians. But why you only see the pale skin? Because they got to keep you subdued. This is the final call. Let me pull it back down so y'all can see it. So I can see the title. They got to keep you subdued because everything is legal. See? It's legal. See, they want you to focus on, see, I got to spit in the test. Or see, I got to. No. They just remove your surname. And when they remove your name, they destroy your whole hierarchy, your bloodline. Boom, gone. Because now they reclassify you away from your surname. Your surname linked you to the land. Your surname linked you to the house of your family. You see? Your surname linked you to the title that you're supposed to be carrying. But let's go back to the curse. Go back to the curse. Your surname. They took the they're calling you, sir, they're calling you their surname. You see? You're no longer you no more. You are who they want you to be. Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among what? All nations. Nobody's going to respect you. See, they know that those people over there are not the Jews. It's coming out. They ain't the Jews. But they not going to tell you that you're the Jew. You can't be the Jew. Let's see if I can find that interview with Kanye West. Give me 1 second. You can't be the Jew. See, because they can't look at you as being the Jew. No. You cannot be the Jew. Because if you are the Jew, then how do they dwell safely? How? How do they do it? Tell me how they do it. I think that's it. Hold on. No, it's not it. Hold on. How do they dwell safely, family? Okay, here it come. Here it come right here. Listen to this, family. In fact, let me pull up the video so y'all can see the video yourselves. Hold on. Let me pull the video up. I'm gonna let y'all hear it for yourself. They'll never tell y'all, they can never let y'all see that they're going to admit that you all are the actual Israelites. And we're gonna, and I'm about done on part one. Tucker interviews Kanye West. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. Hold on. Is it? Now I don't agree with a lot of stuff this brother talk about, but I'm gonna on this video I do agree. I'm just letting you hear what Kanye West said. So fair use, we still under fair use, still under Fair Use Act. So let's ride. Okay. Here we go.
Are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct? Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct? Yes. Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome, we can do that. We've cracked the human genome, we can do that. We've cracked the human genome, we can do that. As for the Nazi thing, I was like, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never like come to, it's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And and especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
This is interesting. Very, very interesting. You just heard Tucker Carlson say, quote, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, it wasn't on camera, but I was like, that was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that. Who was he referring to in that clip you just watched? Let me give you a hint. Listen closely.
So you just came from Paris Fashion Week, you just landed, and the lanyard's still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more Black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of Black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
Why would Tucker Carlson say to Kanye West or Ye, I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet? Think about that. Ye made a number of provocative statements, but what was it that caused Tucker Carlson to respond that way? Now listen to the unaired leaked footage from that same interview. It provides clarity as to why Tucker made that comment.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race Black really are.
Again.
Yeah, I just heard Kanye, but you could take Christ out, the blood of Christ. You could remove that. But you heard what Kanye said. Let's rewind it again. You can remove the blood of Christ because y'all know you're a Christian. But look what he said. Let's go.
Of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race Black really are.
Again, Ye said, quote, Planned Parenthood was by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenicist with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ.
But where was the eugenics at in the KKK in America? Okay, It was in America. And this is the point where I'm going to end it at tonight, because we don't understand that when you realize these people, that Japhet came to live in your tents, and for him living in your tents, he have to be in control. And you have to be subservient to him. Okay? There's no other way to look at it. And the Canaanites are going to what? The Canaanites are going to help them stay in control. Okay? This is only part one. It's only part one, family. Walter Plecker go deeper. In the Creator's will, we're going to go deeper on Walter Plecker. So, family, we thank you for joining me tonight. This is Morey Yacob in our TFTR network. Make sure as you press that button as we leave, you press the like button, subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, if you like what you're hearing. Family, this is our TFTR network. This is Morey Yacob and ITFTR. May your Shabbat continue to be peaceful, restful, and relaxful. Next time, may we have that conversation again. Shalom.